Hello, welcome back. This is Mark Gunnels here with lineups. And we got a lot to talk about today. Obviously, my Kansas Jayhawks have been eliminated from the March Madness tournament, losing to St. John's in the second round, 67 to 65. Unfortunately, I was there to witness it live. Got beat at the buzzer by a guy that I don't remember his name, and that was his only points at the game that he scored. Of course, that is how it went down in San Diego. First of all, I want to say thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you guys coming back this week. I know you guys were probably waiting, just eagerly anxious to hear my thoughts on the current state of the Kansas Jayhawks. The game was very frustrating. Let's get that out the way. Couldn't score at all in the first half. I mean, it was really ugly. Watch. Only scored 26 points in the first half. Things got a little better in the second half. You were down by 14 with about 6 minutes left, I believe. Fought all the way back, tied the game up with under 15 seconds to go. First of all, I couldn't even believe they made that comeback. I thought the game was over. The game was moving super slow paced. Down by 14, felt like you were down by 25 or 30 in a game like that. So the fact they even tied it up was pretty remarkable to me. I mean, to be quite honest with you. Darren Peterson was the leading scorer for Kansas with 21 points, but he only got up 15 shots, and I think that's very, very underwhelming. Now, granted, there were a couple times where he shot the ball, but he got fouled and didn't make it, went to the line, so those don't count as shot attempts. But regardless, I think there was too many gaps in this game, especially when you struggled scoring, that he didn't touch the ball or he didn't get shots up. I would have loved to see him just empty the clip, shoot 25, 30 times and go down like that. But he did make some key plays down the stretch, made the 2 clutch free throws to tie the game up. And I firmly believe if they would have got that last stop and go to overtime, they would have won that game. They would have had all the momentum. It was a pretty pro Kansas crowd just from being there. So just very disappointing. And this is the 4th straight year that Kansas has not made it out the first weekend of the tournament. It's crazy to say that. They haven't made it to the Sweet 16 since 2022. But the caveat is in 2022, they won the national championship. So that kind of eases the pain a little bit that you got a recent championship during this drought. And the standards are high at Kansas. I mean, just like how they are at Duke, Kentucky, North Carolina. I mean, we just saw North Carolina, they just fired Hubert Davis. And if you look at his record overall, it's pretty damn good. It's a pretty good record. Even in conference play, I mean, it's pretty good. He's just continued to come up short in March, even though during his first year at Carolina, he went to the national championship. And that's the same one that Kansas ended up winning against North Carolina in 2022. So it just tells you a different standard, because if he was at, let's say, NC State, a couple miles down the road in Raleigh, North Carolina, and he had the same exact record and resume, oh, he would have got an extension by now. If he would have had a national championship appearance on his resume at North Carolina State, go to the tournament every year, have a winning record every year, yeah, he would have had an extension there. But that's just not good enough when you're at one of these blue blood programs. And now that leads me to what's next in Lawrence, Kansas. It's been a lot of talk this week after the loss to St. John's about the future of one Bill Self. Bill Self is the most winningest coach in Kansas history. He's the greatest coach in Kansas history. The only one to have multiple national championships on his resume. At one point, he won 14 straight Big 12 championships. Just unheard of. His record is unreal. It gets even crazier when you're talking about his record inside of Allen Fieldhouse. Multiple Final Four appearances outside of the national championship games. Like I said, he's won 2. He's been the 3. Lost against Kentucky, the Anthony Davis Kentucky team. Several Final Four appearances, Elite Eights, second weekend, Sweet 16s. I mean, I can go on and on about his resume. I think at the end of the day, we were to call it quits, which is the rumor right now. He hasn't made a decision yet. You're talking about, you can stack his resume up. I mean, he's a top 10 easy college coach of all time, and you can make a case for top 5. That's how great Bill Self has been at Kansas during his 23 years. And he even had a nice run at Illinois before that for about 3 or 4 years. He was there before moving on to Kansas for the next 23 seasons. Now, will he retire or will he stay? Now, over the last couple years or so, Bill Self has had a couple of health scares. He's been very open about it, talking about how he's had to change diet and how he lives. And he's said throughout the year that he's felt the best as he's felt physically in a very long time. And based on all the interviews and things of that nature that I've watched throughout the year, I pretty much watched every presser, every media availability he's had all year. And when this topic has come up, he's basically kind of brushed it off. Like, it's not even a thought in his mind that he's going to retire. He said he feels good. But obviously things can change throughout the course of the year. Obviously, it wasn't very healthy probably for him to deal with the whole Darren Peterson saga throughout the season. Answering questions about that all year had to be stressful. The ups and downs of the team, another second round exit, losing at the buzzer, which begs the question, will he want to go out like that? There was an interview before this season started. So you're talking about all the way back in August, September, when this topic came up about him, when would he retire? And he said that he wouldn't even consider retiring on a bad note, like leaving Kansas in a bad state. Now, what do you consider a bad note? They finished 4th in the Big 12, the best conference in America. That's pretty darn good. You were a 4 seed, but you did lose in the second round, didn't make it to the second weekend for the 4th straight year. So what do you consider a bad note? You got the potential number 1 pick in the next couple months. That looks good on Kansas. So it's a very tough situation. I think ultimately it'll come down to he's going to talk to his family, as he said after the game Sunday, his wife, his kids, probably talk to his doctor, et cetera, et cetera. And I think health will be the number 1 factor here. But even if he does return, I think it'll just be for 1 year. And I think it'll be pretty well known. I don't think he's the type of person that'll come out and say it, because I don't think he would want this farewell tour like Coach K did. But I think it will be pretty well understood that this will be the last year. One of those if you know type things. And I think fans and media would treat it like that, even if he doesn't outright say it. But if he does retire, Now you're on the clock if you're Kansas, because as I mentioned before, North Carolina, that job is open. And you can argue which job is better. The bottom line is both jobs are top 5 jobs in this sport, regardless. Maybe both top 3. The only one that I would say would be better if it opened would be Duke, then North Carolina and Kansas. So with that in mind, I don't see Bill putting Kansas in a bad spot. The transfer portal opens the day after the national championship. So that's less than 2 weeks away. Bill knows that. So I think the longer it drags out, the more likely it is that he stays, because he doesn't want to put Kansas in a bad spot where they're scrambling, trying to find a new coach, trying to keep their current recruits that are committed, trying to keep their current players from leaving and hitting the transfer portal. So I think all of that is being a factor. But I think another factor too, and this is just me talking, this is not from any inside source or anything. The number 1 in the 2026 class still hasn't committed yet. And his name is Tyron Stokes. Based on what you hear and who you believe, it seems that Kansas has been the favorite for months. I mean, 247 Sports, if you're not familiar, that's probably the most well-known, respected recruiting site right now. And they make their crystal ball predictions, and they're about 80% right on their predictions over years of data, right? And they predicted that Tyron Stokes is going to Kansas months ago. Now, the thinking was the commitment would have been done by now. So there is this weird space that we're in, wondering, is Kentucky still in the mix? Because they were perceived to be the favorites before Kansas. Then Kansas became the pick. And Kentucky doesn't have any commits for their class right now. And Tyron Stokes is a Nike athlete. Kentucky's obviously a Nike school, while Kansas is an Adidas school. So that does make things a little murky there. But we have seen players that are represented by so-and-so, like represented by Reebok or whatever, or New Balance, and they go to Adidas school or Nike school. So it doesn't really necessarily mean that you have to go to one of those schools just because that's who's representing you. So I think ultimately it's going to come down to who has the most money for Mr. Stokes. And something tells me that the competitive juice in Bill's self, if health permits, wants to give this one more go. Because it just feels all so sudden if he retires right now. There was no real build up. There was no expectation that this would be the last year. And I'm sure him and the AD, Travis Goff, have had conversations behind closed doors. So maybe nothing of this is a shock to them. But at least it is to the fan base. And Self cares about the KU fan base, the alums, the donors. You got to, right? So I think he's trying to see what kind of roster he would have if he did stay one more year. Because on paper, overall, if you look at the commits they have right now, and you look at the current roster and you assume certain guys are going to come back, certain guys are going to leave, obviously. And then if you can get a Tyron Stokes on top of that, this roster next year will be better than the one that you had this year. Now, obviously, we know about Darren Peterson, but outside of that, it was still a very flawed roster. Now, you already have the top point guard in the country committed, Taylon Kinney, Mr. 6'7", if you don't know. He's a Jayhawk right now. They have one of the best shooters in the class committed from out here in Los Angeles, Luke. They have one of the top centers, Davian Atkins, committed, and a nice wing player as well that's in the top 100, Trent Perry, committed for the 26 class. And you expect Melvin Council will be gone, the starting point guard, but that's fine. You got Taylor Kinney to take his spot. Trey White is gone. He was a senior. You could have Tyron Stokes taking that wing spot at the 3. Now, Flory at the 5, that's 50-50. He could either stay, he can go to the NBA, or he could transfer somewhere else. That's up in the air. So is Bryson Tiller. He could stay or go to another school. He's not ready for the NBA right now. Cole Rosario, who I love, and I think he should have been more in the rotation throughout the year. He could also transfer. I think he will stay, though. He seems like he's a hardworking guy, that he loves to grind and wants to earn his spot. And I think he really loves Kansas. I think he will stay. So if you get at least one of those 3 guys to stay, plus your class you got coming in, and then if you get Tyron Stokes, the #1 player in high school, once again, because you just had Darren Peterson, I think that would be enough. Like I said, if health permits, for Bill Self to want to give it one more shot at this, because that would be a really loaded roster. You're talking about probably preseason #1 in the country, bare minimum top 5 in the country. So expectations would be much higher, because for as good as Darren Peterson is, like I said, the roster was flawed. In the preseason, Kansas was only ranked, I believe, like 19. They weren't that highly ranked. I think at the highest they got throughout the season was like number 8 or 9. So this was not a team before the year that you expected to make a Final Four run. That would not be the case if, like I said, you get 2 of those 3 guys back from your roster that I mentioned, the key guys, with this coming in. Even just that alone without Tyron Stokes is a better roster, I think, than this past season overall. But if you get Tyron Stokes on top of that, then you're talking about something that could be really, really special. So we'll see. But like I said, a decision has to be made fairly soon, because players are already they can't officially enter the transfer portal right now, but they can say that they intend to enter the transfer portal. So I think something's going to come soon. I would expect a decision to be made within the next 4 or 5 days at the most. If you wanted my gut opinion, I think he gives it one more year, but it's really 50-50, guys. Now, what if he does retire? Who replaces Bill Self? Well, I have a wish list. Now, you don't get everything that you wish for, unfortunately, but I have a wish list, and I'm going to read it to you guys right now. I tweeted it on X yesterday. In order, this is my wish list. In order, if Bill Self retires. #1, Tommy Lloyd at Arizona. #2, Dusty May at Michigan. #3, Todd Golden at Florida. #4, Ben McCollum at Iowa. And #5, Nate Oates at Alabama. Now, the top 3 guys I think will be hard sells. Talking about Tommy Lloyd at Arizona. Why would he leave there? He has a lot of resources. Not the same pressure as Kansas. He could have a couple off years and he'll still probably have the job. That wouldn't be the case at Kansas. And he still gets top players. Same with Dusty May at Michigan. And Arizona, I would say, I think Arizona's a top 10 job in college basketball. Now, Michigan is lower down that list for sure when it comes to college basketball. And they're also competing with the football team. That's always going to be king in Ann Arbor. At Arizona, there's no other competing sport for Arizona basketball. So I think Dusty May could be more likely, and that's my second choice. So I'll be thrilled if they got Dusty May from Michigan. Number 3, Todd Golden at Florida. Somewhat similar to Michigan. You're always going to be second fiddle to Florida football, no matter how much success Florida basketball has had throughout the years. Florida football will always be king there. Todd Golden's really young, early 40s, won a national championship already. Now, the last 2 guys on my list at 4 and 5, I think they're Kansas if they want them. Number 4, Ben McCollum at Iowa. Now, I know he's from Iowa, so it's a hometown thing, but that's a massive jump going from Iowa basketball to KU basketball. And I think that would be too hard to pass up. This opportunity does not come around too often. I mean, in the 120 years of Kansas basketball, there's only been 8 head coaches. Think about that. There's only been 8 head coaches at Kansas in 120 years. And same thing for number 5, Nate Oates at Alabama. He's yours if you want him. I mean, do I even got to talk about Alabama football? Like, come on. So that would be an easy choice, I think, from him to go from a school where you literally have no choice, no chance to ever be even half as relevant as the football program at Alabama, to get to going to Kansas, where basketball is king. That's where basketball was birthed at. Shout out to James Naismith. But despite what I said about the top 3 guys being hard sells because they're already in good situations, I do have one inside source from Kansas University about this. So I will reveal that. I won't say any names, though. I got a DM. So this person works very, very close to the team, covers the team, and they got a couple text messages from NBA agents that have some intel on Bill Self. So I will tell you this. One agent said, Bill Self retired and has more legs than I thought. Just did some digging. And another agent texted this KU guy, Todd Golden in Florida to Kansas. That's their prediction. They think that Golden is going to leave Florida and go to Kansas. And then the KU guy said, you think so? With a question mark. And the agent said, yeah, it's been 12 months in the making. He's definitely considered the favorite. And then he also said Dusty May and Lloyd are the other 2 hot names for Kansas. So based on what those agents texted this KU guy, they believe that Bill Self will retire. And then one of them believes that Todd Golden from Florida will become the new head coach of the Kansas Jayhawks. And if not him, the other 2 hot names are Dusty May and Tommy Lloyd. And all 3 of those guys are the top 3 on my wish list. So it's safe to say that I would be a happy camper. Now, I do want Bill Self to stay 1 more year. But if he were to retire, if you get one of those 3 guys, I think you're in a great spot moving forward. That's all I have for today, guys. I'll talk to you guys whenever we get some breaking news, whether Bill Self decides to stay or retire. And then we'll get deeper into the coaching search. And I feel like both things will happen very fast. If he retires, they will get a new head coach very, very soon, because they have to, because college sports now is an all year round calendar thing. So thank you guys for tuning in. Talk to you guys very soon. Rock Chalk.